All right, dude.
Hey man, how are you?
Welcome to the Colin Gray Show.
Yeah.
We have one of my favorite dolly grips and favorite human beings, RossAddiego. Go ahead, Ross. Introduce yourself. Tell everyone what you do.
Uh, I push around a sled. RossAddiego, Dolly Grip for
Meat
Dolly
puppet
Grip.
pusher.
Yeah, exactly. Dolly Grip du jour for gosh, I think I've been on set like 30 years now. So,
Yep.
uh, yeah, faked my way onto the first dolly and got my card doing that. Now I have another card. I live in
What
New
what what
Mexico.
was your first show?
It was like UPM promos for Star Trek stuff with this actress Cherry Ryan,
No.
and still a photographer that was alumni from where I went to school. A buddy of mine ran his studio. Calls
Yeah.
me on a Friday, dude. You ever push a Fisher 10? Sure,
The
Dave.
answer is
Yeah,
always yes.
yeah, bro. Of
Yes,
course
I
I have.
have.
Okay, cool. Be at the studio because I had done still stuff with them,
Yeah.
stills assistant for a little while. So be at the studio Monday, 6 a.m. Okay, no problem. Hang up, call JL Fisher. Hey, hi, my name's RossAddiego. Any chance I can come over there and play with a Fisher 10? And, and of course, those
Yeah.
guys are like, come on over. We've got the time if you do.
Yeah.
And that was that.
If you got the time, you can make the dime.
Yeah, I mean, so pretty much been doing that since.
So I'm
Yeah.
trying to think I'm trying to think when we first started working together. Um, it was definitely in the Jonas and Pear days.
Yeah, it was
It was in the Jonas
perfume
Arkland. Yeah,
commercials and
yeah.
like music
I think
videos.
I was bringing you in as a B dolly grip, um, and then I immediately moved you to A dolly grip. Um, but I know that
So
yeah,
long, dude. Yeah,
it's
we've
so
done
long ago.
yeah,
Who
done
the who the F
some fun
knows?
stuff, silly stuff, but all kinds of cool. I mean, I remember doing, like some perfume commercial with a wardrobe, and the sets were incredible. I mean, we've
Yeah.
done makeup stuff up escalators downtown LA,
Oh yeah.
Cadillac commercial. I mean,
Yeah.
just all the whole
I,
yeah.
I
It
I
was
I think one of my
yeah.
one of my favorites. I know that you were with me on this. Is we were in. I think we were at Paramount Stages. One of those like we're just gonna show up on stage and film. We don't need a tech scout. So obviously all the shit fell through the cracks, and
Yeah.
we show up and doing commercials, especially as a dolly grip. Like you're still a grip. Like
Yeah.
in the commercial world,
Yeah.
a dolly grip's
You
still a grip.
get
There's no like
sucked
I
into
don't need a
it. Yeah.
walkie on the dolly grip. It's like no, the
No.
dolly grip's
Yeah.
the other hammer.
Right.
And we had built a silk or full grid box. I think it was silks. We built a full box on the stage, like a full box.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the art department rolled in late, late as fuck, because the truck was out picking up, stuff because they were trying to save
Sure.
money and it was a last
Sure.
minute thing. And they showed up and they brought in all those chrome balls. Do you remember this? And then they're like, okay, so they need to be hung here and they need to be hung here and hung
Yeah.
here. And it
Right.
was like they rolled in with like 30 of these full on chrome balls. They needed to be hung inside this softbox that we had built. But the softbox was like 40 by 20 by
Yeah.
60 or
Never
40.
small.
It was it was
Yeah.
massive.
Certainly wasn't a
And
12
they're
by or
like
20
and
by.
and the production designer just pointing up, going like right here, and then right here, and I'm looking up this rag that's like it's like a 60 by 60, like seamless, and I'm like, we got this to hide reflections because no one told me about any of this stuff, and they're like, no, just go up and cut a hole and just drop a line. It's like, oh my god. I remember
Fine.
going to the producer and being like,
Yeah. Only gets newer.
you're gonna hate this one.
Yeah. That's right. That rag hanging in the air, that's yours
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Right.
So
Uh,
the one thing I want to tell people about too is the one thing that always blows my mind is like you've got this vehicle that you like travel and live in when you're out in LA. And it's like it's the ultimate vehicle. Like, I mean, when you think about like because you're basically out of New Mexico, right?
Now I am. I mean, yeah, last
Yeah.
time we
But
saw each other,
when
I
you
was
were
living
working with
in
me though, it's
Montana.
like you had
Yeah.
that vehicle. It was like a house on wheels.
pretty much.
but yet not oversized. It wasn't like you're driving around a camper. It was like it
No,
was a
I couldn't
sweet
get
rig.
into. I knew which lots I couldn't get into the parking lot, so I'd go to
Right.
the whatever,
Yeah.
Paramount. I'd get Rockstar parking because security
Yeah.
knew me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And come on, man, I can't fit in the lot. Help me out,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Put me next to the stage. Come on.
especially once I had Montana plates, because then I just played dumb. Like, come on, I don't know where else to park. Like,
Yeah. I put a lumber rack on the F-350 at one point just to make sure I couldn't fit in any of the parking garages.
I
And
just
then I pulled
drove.
the key grip card out. I'd be like,
I mean,
key grip,
that's
truck
yeah. I
doesn't
just
fit.
drove Rudy's. Rudy
Yeah.
built one just like
So well,
Bill's.
me and Rudy
Yeah.
had the same truck. That
So yeah.
white F-350.
Yeah, man. I just drove his last
Yeah.
week, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's so fun. And,
Which is also technically Bill's old truck. It's the old hillbilly truck.
yeah. So,
Small world.
but yeah, no, still have not that same vehicle, but another, and still do consulting for people building those, and
Yeah.
a little side hustle.
Yeah.
But yeah, the overland, whatever, expedition, off road truck stuff. Hashtag van life hashtag, and
I'll make sure I follow you.
yeah, no, shit's fun. And yeah, what is it? Off grid media. So
Yeah, off grid. Yeah.
yeah.
Wait, isn't Nazar part of that?
So Nazar started a cool company.
It's off. It's off grid
off
something.
grid rentals.
Yeah, he does.
And
he does the trailers, the camper trailers that are like
teardrop trailers.
Yeah, and they're like off-road suspension.
Oh, they're built like
Yeah.
I think he rents Jeeps now. Also, maybe.
Yep.
I think you can get the whole deal.
Absolutely would not surprise me. Yeah.
From him, or he's partnered with people that rent the Jeep, so you can go in.
I know that
the whole deal.
The off-grid rental thing, like he was partners in that too, because that all started when he was the gaffer. I was the key grip for quite a few DPs, and me and him were like, I was on the first job that he ever gaffed, and
nice.
I'd only been keying for like a year or two, but it was like we were two of the young bucks, and they shoved us together. And Simon Thoroughway was the gaffer on this shoot.
Oh yeah,
for Nazar's first gaffing job that I was on, at least.
Huh.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. And it was at Sun Stages in I can't believe I remember all this. Sun Stages in over in Glendale. Yeah.
Okay.
Glendale.
Right.
I forgot the name of it now. I think one of the guys over at Special Purpose was running it for a while, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, those trailers were cool, and I helped him figure out he wanted to.
They're great trailers.
His customers were, I think, killing batteries. So I'm like, all right, well, let's figure out how to put solar on it. But sometimes they had rooftop tents.
Right.
So we came up with essentially like a drawer system.
Because it's a teardrop.
Has the grip.
Yeah.
And drawer system that would lock in, and then you could just pull the panel out from under the rack. So
that's smart.
And,
yeah.
Keep that thing from dying on the because it had all kinds of stuff. Lights. It had a little kitchen in the back. Like
yeah.
It
was it was a pimped out teardrop. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My understanding was that they popped up, and then the kitchen kind of popped out the back, and then when you pulled the kitchen out, then it gave you room to sleep inside of it. Because everything kind of shoved inside of it is
separate. So they had a bulkhead. The one.
My understanding was like it came down like this, but then the shelves and stuff went in. So for you to sleep in it, I think everything had to be pulled out. I could be wrong.
I don't think on his. I think that bulkhead separated that ass of the thing, which was the kitchen, from like your living, whatever, sleeping compartment. But
makes a lot more sense than the ghetto one I was looking at.
Some of them are like Transformers, where you have to do all kinds of shit like that. So, yeah. Anyway, we got off on track.
So what have you been working on lately?
I just did. Last year I did a show that comes out next week called Pulse Medical Show. Mm-hmm. They're kind of trying to bill it like, the next ER or whatever. So they Netflix built this Netflix Studios here in Albuquerque built this giant hospital set. I think close to $10 million set.
Wow.
I mean, it fills 2 entire stages, and it takes 200 to 300 extras just to make it
Just to make it look,
convincing.
yeah.
Doing depending on the shots we're doing, they've got to have 300 extras in there, and
Wow.
they do it all the time. I mean, it was incredible, fun show. So that comes out next week. We're waiting to hear if we're coming back for another season, which we think we are. At the end of July are the rumors, but we'll see. And did a movie, the mutual friend Rudy,
Yeah.
recently.
So
For who
so so you're basically out. You're out in New Mexico, like, and then bouncing back to LA for pickup work.
if somebody called me to go to LA, I would, if it was something good, I would
Me
jam
too.
back.
Anybody
I
paying
would,
attention?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'll
I
still
would
come
jam
back.
back. I have my
It's
local
just
80
got to be like
card.
4 or 5 there.
Yeah. I have my local 80 card still,
Yeah.
but I'm 480 here in New Mexico.
I just built a
So
little truck here in Maine.
I was watching the
Yeah.
progress of that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
So what's funny about New Mexico, I will say is, uh, so I quit the industry, went sailing for 2 years in the Caribbean, dealing with my dad, and just kind of FDO for 2 years and went
Right,
sailing.
right.
And I was on my boat and it was great. And then I got a phone call one day and I was managing a bar and restaurant that I had helped open up. And it's Bill. And he's like, "How's it going?" I was like, "It's good, dude. I miss you." He's like, "Hey, I need you to come back." And I was like, "Hey, man, I'm kind of dealing with some family stuff." And
Yep.
he's like, "Come on, dude. Come on. Come on back. You know you wanna. You know you wanna." And I was like, it, certain things happened within a week after that phone call. And I found myself back on a plane, flying back. I fly back in LA. I grab my car because my car was still at his house. Him and
Right.
Gretchen had held on to my Saab, my crappy Saab 900,
Nice.
and it still had basically everything I owned in it, aside from what was in the Caribbean. And I drove out to New Mexico, and we were doing Breaking Bad. We were doing the pilot of that with Jonathan Toll, and
Nice.
Jonathan Toll was DPing it, and Pete Yari, who owns Hollywood Sliders, he was the best boy.
Okay.
And I showed up, and I'm like, "All right, man, like, you got me out of the Caribbean, you got me here. Like, what do you need? Let's go." I was there for 3 days, and he's like, "Need to go back to LA and
Oh.
start covering all the accounts." I'm like, man, I'm like, 5 days ago, I was in the Caribbean, living on my boat, swimming to work, bartending, managing this place. And I was like, I came back for this emergency. I get all the way to New Mexico. I'm there for like 2 or 3 days. And he's like, "All right, need to go back to LA." Like,
Well, okay.
but
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
I
You're
would
gonna
I
do it.
change any of it? No, not in a
No, I mean,
heartbeat.
I got
But it's
calls.
really funny because New Mexico had no film industry at all when we were there.
Right. Right.
Like there was nothing.
Sure.
The union kept sending us guys, and these guys we're like, "Okay, so have you ever been on set before?" "Nope." You're like, "Okay, well, what's your experience?" It's like, "Nope." Like, these guys, like, there was not even like a hint. Like they were just so fresh, and it was fine. We made it all work, but it was
Right.
just really funny. It was like poor Pete and poor Bill. They were sitting there like, and you got Jonathan Toll, who's not, John's awesome. I've keyed a couple movies for him, some small features and stuff, and worked with them a lot. And I love John. Like we used to spend great nights after rap having cocktails and telling stories. And I will say, like, but watching like that skill level, and then you have like, you have an amazing key grip, an amazing best boy, and then a good dolly grip. I forgot who the dolly grip is we brought, but it's like, and then the rest is just like, it's just chaos on the electric side and grip side. It's just like,
Sure.
it's just a
Sure.
mess. But then, on the outside of it, it's like, now look at the industry out there. It's like, it's a massive
It's
industry. Like, it's
it's
very well set up.
interesting.
Like,
Yeah. 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 I mean,
and
I've
and,
been
and
out.
it's funny. Apparently, they offered John Toll and the gaffer. They basically offered everyone like a full-time position, like all of us. They were like, "If you guys want to stay, like we'll set you up." And it was a pilot, so it's like no one knew if the show was going to take off, but they had preemptively offered everyone basically a full-time position on the show to move out
Right.
there. But all this, I mean, as anyone probably listening to this knows, like you can never tell if a
Yeah. No.
pilot's going to do anything,
Uh-uh.
and everyone always they lure you with like, it's a pilot, it could be amazing, it could be the next Seinfeld where
Sure.
you'll have 9 years or
Okay.
10 years of work, and it's like,
Sure.
no, like,
Yeah. Then pay
trust
me
nothing.
a retaining fee and I'll
Yeah,
stick
exactly.
around. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay, give me a 5-year retaining fee on that.
well, again,
Rent me
like,
my
yeah, no,
condo.
treat me like an actor and sure,
Yeah,
but otherwise you're going to treat me like a grip and you're going to send me
yeah,
packing
yeah.
and, like we know that
Yep.
shit. So, yeah, no, I remember one of those phone calls from Bill when I was living in Montana soon after I moved there. And it was very much the same. Hey, how quickly can you be at Santa Clarita Studios?
Yeah. Hey, hey, hey.
Shit, Bill. I mean, I got to pack some things. I want to kiss my wife goodbye. Like,
He's like,
15 hours.
Kids are when you get back.
Yeah, exactly. I could be there in 15 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
That's
with
that's
him
cool,
and
man.
Nazar. Nazar was gaffing some
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
go up in the perms, check on the young guys. Like literally drove straight there. Hey,
yeah.
go in the perm, check on the young guys. Okay,
It's just
go put an
chaos up
eye.
there.
It wasn't terrible, but yeah, I saved a couple of lives, whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and then we were wrapped for the day. So I got paid to drive and
Yeah.
went took a nice nap and whatever, came back and whatever we were doing. I don't know, who knows what we were selling, but
Who
it
knows
doesn't
where we're
matter.
at?
Yeah.
It's so funny. I always forget like half my stories. It's like I don't really need to remember what the job was because I'm like, the job didn't really matter. It's more of the story that went into it.
Kind of, yeah. Well, that's like my one story I had for you. I knew because we're both, electronics geeks and
Oh
computers
yeah,
and all that stuff is
guilty of nerdage.
yes, C3PO. So we're doing this Star Tours commercial, not commercial, pardon me. Star Tours is revamping Star Tours like 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
before it's the whole thing they have now. And
Well,
so
I did the Tower of Terror Disney commercial when they switched it to Guardians of the Galaxy.
right. So
Yep.
this is they're revamping it, and we've got a bunch of Wookiees on set, and that far
Are you
back.
talking about wardrobe or makeup?
Yeah, both. And
No, the Wookiees.
yes, and did it all for the Wookiee. And
It's an inside joke.
they've got we're doing some experimental, the 3D cameras are new. So we've got Admiral Akbar. We're going to shoot a little 3D piece that they're going to do something cool in the ride or whatever, the theme park thing. And so we shoot all this stuff. They bring in Anthony Daniels for like a minute, right? Because they need him in the foreground, out of focus with all the characters in the background. So, but we're going to shoot a whole nother thing with him a week or two later. Mm-hmm. So we do all this stuff. They got ships on stage. Like we're all geeks, man. It's all the ILM people, and we just had a blast, right? All these characters from all the Star Wars movies. So, so we wrap that, put that shit to bed, and whatever it is, week or two later, we meet at some little space in Burbank, and it's just on like a 2-wall set, and it's Anthony Daniels, C3PO, doing
Legend.
his whole shtick for the ride, like welcome, and then all the safe, put on your seatbelt, like whatever lines they got for him, right? So they bring him in.
I find it insane that they actually brought him in to actually do that for the ride. I mean, that just shows that shows
contract. I think.
No, it's awesome. Yeah.
I mean, so
more power to him. That's amazing.
Exactly. No, it was one of my coolest experiences. Yeah, it was a hoot. So it's just a few of us, right? Tiny shoot. Sparky's pre-lit it, so there's not a lot of electricians. It's like me and who is it? Tony Mizuchi.
Tony Mizuchi.
Like Pi, I think, was probably besting it. Just
course.
A couple of us, right? And I'm on Dolly, and it's the same costumers forever. Like all of the C3O thing parts, like his legs and stuff, they're all in like custom made like British, I guess you'd almost call them foot lockers or
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah,
travel boxes. And then all of those go into like a big chest or
yeah, yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
right,
It's a
to
big,
travel.
yeah, yeah.
And
It's like a road. It's
nondescript,
like a concert road case.
it kind of, but
Yeah,
soft, right? Softer than
yeah,
that,
yeah,
right? But nondescript, so you don't know what's in it, right? You don't know it's fucking
yeah, yeah,
C3PO, like
yeah.
the one and only suit. And so they get him in the suit and put on the back of the head and the face are the last thing, of course, once he's all comfortable and in the suit. He's still stoked at his age that he at that time could get in the suit and had no issues and whatever, so we're joking around. Well, suddenly there's, you get that sense of panic, right? I'm doing
Mm.
my thing as a dolly grip. You get
Yeah.
that sense of panic, like costumers trip in,
Something's
they
about to
start,
happen. Yeah.
something's wrong, right? They start taking the costume off and realize that his eyes won't illuminate,
Oh,
right? Which is part of the whole, his eyes move as he's talking or whatever.
that should be a simple fix, though.
Okay, but if the
For
costumer's
you and
not an
me.
electronics geek,
Yeah,
so
yeah. I was
so
like,
I'm
for
like,
you and me,
okay,
I'm like,
well,
you're like,
anybody know
stand
anything about?
aside. Let me fix
And the
this.
and the sound mixer was kind of like, well, I'm like, you got a soldering iron? It's like, yeah. I'm like, let me look at that thing.
Yeah.
So we're in Burbank. So I'm like,
You're
okay,
like,
go over
because
to,
I need to go home tonight at some point.
well, whatever. I'll hang
Yeah,
out. Like we're hanging out telling stories now with,
yeah,
Anthony Daniels. So this isn't all bad. And I'm on the clock. It's commercial rate. And it's Mizuchi. So that's,
yeah.
just
Exactly.
whatever. You're laughing the whole
You
time
got the
anyway.
bonus.
So okay, I look at it and I can see, yeah, some of the stuff's literally from the 70s. Go to Robin's Hobbies down the street, that spot. Go to
Yeah, yeah.
Robin's Hobbies, and
I
here's a
know it
list of
way
shit.
too well.
Exactly, you and I both. Right? So go buy all this shit for me. So
By the way,
they come down.
Robin's Hobbies is in Burbank, California. Look it up.
Hopefully,
It's
it's still
awesome.
there. Great
Oh, it's
place.
still
Yeah.
there. It was
Okay,
there when I
good.
left. It was there when I left LA.
Okay, one of the
Great
best
place.
hobby
If you're looking
shops
for
ever.
NERC stuff, used
Yeah,
stuff,
they were. Yeah,
planes.
they love
I'm
us
throwing
film
a shout
geeks.
out on, if you want to send me some stuff, thank you.
Yes,
But
yeah, yeah. Can you
and
sponsor
send
Linky?
Ross some stuff.
Sponsor Linky's
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about me. Just sponsor my buddy here. So,
Hey, and then I'll send you stuff.
yeah, all right. So that I tinker around. I rewire some of the shit, whatever, a new battery, whatever we do, and because I think the batteries were in the back of the head or whatever.
Yep.
So I look at him, Mr. Daniels. You call me, and I'm not going to try to do his
Yeah,
British accent,
yeah,
but
of course.
you call me Anthony. Okay, well, Anthony, do you mind if I put the mask on to make sure there's no parasitic voltage? And he
No
looks at me and
fucking
he's
way.
like, absolutely.
You got to put the mask on.
I've seen the world through C3PO's eyes, brother. Yeah. So, and
Winner.
then, yeah,
Winner.
well, so, we
I'm
all
so
have our
fucking jealous.
moments.
That's
We all
amazing.
have our moments, right? Dim the eyes
Well,
up and down.
okay. So my puppeteer moment was Alf. I
Alf.
did
That's like when we
the
grew up.
movie
Alf.
called Art of the Deal. I keyed that movie.
Okay.
And that was the Trump. This happened before the first Trump election,
Okay.
and it was like a spoof on Trump. And Johnny Depp played Trump in a fat
Really?
suit. It was fucking wild.
Wow.
Like it
Yeah,
was wild, and it was such a run and gun nightmare shoot that the last day they were like this is the budget. So if we don't film anything, like whatever we don't get done by this time, that's the movie. And it turned into a sprint to the end with no script of and in the end, there's a couple really great stories. I'm not sure I want to share them all now, but Johnny Depp stole a hillbilly apple box.
Nice.
And I caught him. And I was like, excuse me, can I help you? And he's like, well, it says hillbilly on it. He's like, I'm a hillbilly. My wife's a hillbilly. And like, I just wanted to take this home with me. And I was just like, yeah, take it. I called Bill. And I was like, hey, Johnny Depp stole an apple box. Dude, I'm sorry. I'm Bill in production. But at one point in the film, Alf was there, and it was the real Alf. Like, it was a husband and wife duo who shows up with Alf in a box. He puppeteers,
and this is the cat-eating alien we're talking.
Yeah. This is the Alf. I just want to make sure. And his wife does the arms, and he does the head and the mouth, and he does the voice. And they're in there like, I'm gonna say that they were in their 70s.
I was going to say that was a
And
show from the late
yeah, yeah.
80s, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were, I mean, they were so happy to be working, I can tell you that much.
Awesome.
But what a great couple to work with. And there's so much, I've got some BTS of like joking around of like, hey Alf, high five, and like, like
Nice.
just talking crap with them. And
Yes.
man, it was I mean, I've worked with Muppets, and you know how you've worked with Muppets, like they're
Yeah.
they're always in character. But Alf was like, because I mean that really resonated with me. Like Alf, I used to watch Alf. And I'm sitting on set with like, I'm like, it's actually Alf. Like I was like, the fat boys were sitting like 2 seats down, and then the husband and wife were playing Alf were next to the fat boys. I was just like, I was like, oh, this is great.
That's
Such an
kind of
80s
surreal.
flashback. Yeah.
Yeah. Johnny
All right.
Depp's
Well,
still
hey,
on
I'm
Apple One.
running out of memory on my my memory card, but we got to do this some more.
Yes.
Because obviously we've got way many more stories to tell.
Couple
This
two,
is
three.
only a couple 200-300.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, we barely scratched the surface. Like we haven't even got. I don't even feel like we got to the point where we're telling stories when we work together too much.
No, no, we
Oh,
could,
and those
yeah.
are the good
This
ones.
was like a good introduction. We'll come back.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, so we're gonna call this. This is gonna be Ross number one. All right. Well, yeah, this has been the Colin Gray Show, episode 3. Thank you, Ross, buddy. I love
Hey,
you,
thank you, man.
dude. You're the best.
Likewise.
Let's reconnect because we've got a lot to talk about.
Indeed.
Search Ross on IMDb. Go ahead, Ross. Drop your.
But RossAddiego, IMDb, ADDIEGO. What am I? Off Grid Media. I don't add a lot, but hopefully it's worth looking at. And other than that, love you, homie. We'll talk soon.
If you need a dolly grip, there you
Hey,
go.
have passports, will travel, multiple card holder, got all my certs, all my shit's dialed in.
He can
And
live in his van too.
that's right. I can live about anywhere, and I'm going to retire soon. So
Just
get it
don't
while
tell
you
production
can.
because you got to get the per diem
Oh
stipends.
yeah, no, oh shit, yeah, no, stiff arm them for that. So yes,
Yeah,
all right,
exactly.
buddy. Before your shit crashes or whatever's going on over there. Take
You're a
care.
fucking legend. I
Thank
love
you,
you.
sir. You as well. Likewise.
So good to talk
Bye.
to you, man. Be good. Bye.